What's up guys, I'm Sean. This is my 2021 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road. Today I'm going to be installing this Bulldog hidden winch mount along with this Warren winch. A few times during my off-road adventure, I actually got stuck and needed help. At Hudner Pass out in Hollister, I slid off this small hill and I tried to get out, but it just kept getting worse. Luckily, Cowboy had a winch and he was able to bail me out. And recently at Coral Hollow Trail up in Bear Valley, I actually got stuck in some deep wet mud. And again, Cowboy had to pull me out with his winch. So now it's time to be self-sufficient, as well as having the ability to help others if need be. So I'm going with the hidden winch mount. I like the look of the aftermarket bumper, but I don't like the weight. So I decided to go with the hidden winch mount so the truck will still look OEM. But more importantly, I'm not adding about 150 pounds to the front of the truck. And this is the Warren winch that I'm going with. It's the VR EVO 10S. It's rated for 10,000 pounds and it comes with a synthetic rope. It also comes with a wireless controller, which is nice. And this is the winch that Cowboy actually has and recommends. And the fact that he used it to bail me out a few times, I know it works. So this is the winch I'm going with. First thing we're going to do is remove the front grille. Push down some of these clips for the connector. Pop off this tab. Go on this side. Pull the grill out. Be careful and make sure that you disconnect the different accessories you have. Alright, instead of disconnecting my front camera and my front Raptor lights, I'm just going to prop up the grill like this. So now I have access to the tab right here, right here, right here, right here, on this corner. On this corner. Now to the front driver's side, move the tin right here. And I did some modifications to the fender liner to clear my 33s. But basically you want to remove any of the clips that you have here. So you get, I gently pried this up. So now I have access to this right here. And I'm going to do the same to the other side. I'll come underneath the truck and remove the tins down here. Here as well. In that corner. Now you just have to pry off the front bumper cover all around and it should come out. There you have it. Pretty easy to do. And just now disconnect the fog lights. Disconnected the harness right there and the whole bumper cover comes off. This aluminum front bumper is designed for an impact going this way, whereas our winch mount is going to be sitting on the same hardware. This area of the frame is not designed to be pulled on via a winch. So I'm going to have to reinforce this area. On the driver's side, remove the three 14mm nuts right there, and pop off this little plastic tab. And do the same. One right there, two right there. Pop off this plastic tab. Even though the bolts are loose, it's still pretty snug. So you might have to get like a chisel or something to hammer in between to get it out. You do not have to remove the nuts in there. And here's the front of the frame. So again, this area with these bolts aren't designed to be winched on. Instead, they're designed for an impact. So once I do the winch mount, I bought this bracket that's going to reinforce this area. So let's see how much weight I'm removing, then we'll see how much weight I'm adding. This aluminum front bumper is just about 13 pounds. So the winch mount with the Fairlead plate is just about 35 pounds. Before we install the winch plate, we have to remove the OEM tie-down point. It's 3 17mm bolts. I'm gonna remove this one too, just for more clearance. I have to remove this 17mm bolt on this side as well. Now we can install the winch plate. Now I'm checking for clearance. It does get pretty close to this radiator right here, but this bracket is pretty soft, so you can kind of gently push on it to get a little bit more clearance. Looking up at it, it's hard to tell. It's almost touching. There's a little gap on both sides. This is the driver's side, but Bulldog came with a bunch of plates. So I think you just slide in one of these plates. On the passenger side, there's a little gap as well. So the included plate can be slid in right there to close the gap. I might need to get longer bolts. I'm not sure, we'll see. The one thing is you can't reuse the OEM tie down point because the two bolts won't mount up. I can cut off like ½ an inch from this corner, but even if I did that, there'll be no room in the front to put a D-ring or a rope or anything like that. So, can't reuse this. This is the Bay Area Metal Fab front bumper reinforcement bracket. And it came with a bag of beefy hardware. To install it, I have to ditch this. So therefore I can slide this through like that. And put the 3 bolts in the back. This bracket is going to allow the forces to pull via a winch. So you got to pop off this little plastic cover on this side and on this side as well. I'm going to go back to the front bumper bracket later. I'm going to tackle this. So to get more clearance, you can try to push this back, but I just removed this bracket. It's just 2 10mm bolts. I drill a hole right here, so this will allow me to slide this back. Like, I drilled out the hole in the bracket and I reinstalled it, and I was able to push it back, get that extra clearance. So now it's not even close to the winch plate. So it turns out that I cannot run the Bulldog winch plate with the Bay Area Metal Fab bumper reinforcement plate unless I'm willing to do some modifications. So if I center the winch plate to the truck, so there's a little bit of about 1 inch overhang on this side and about 1 inch overhang on this side. So what happens is that this thing, this Air Metal Fab bracket, doesn't do anything. So I would have to slide this winch plate over to one side, so then this side can bolt up, but then now this side won't work. The bolts on the bracket on the side, there's 2 on the side, they work perfectly, but there's one going this way and it does not work without drilling into the Bulldog winch plate. And it actually, I think when I checked it, it actually comes through right around here. So either I'm going to cut this plate and just install the 2 brackets or not use it at all. We'll see. I measured the center of the mounting plate and the center between here and here, so it's right about there. So luckily I just have to slide this all the way to the right. So instead of cutting both sides, I'm just going to cut one side, and I'm going to cut about 1 inch off this side following this line. I have my cutting wheel and I'm wearing eye and ear protection. Now I just have to clean it up and then put a coat of paint on it. Here it is. I cut off the side and I did a test fit with the bracket. Boom. Fits no problem. And this side, boom. No problem as well. Alright, the 3 OEM nuts are loosely installed here and over there. And I think the torque rating for these are 42 foot-pounds. The Bay Area metal fab hardware is installed going this way. And there's a small washer that comes with the kit. And for clearance, you have to use a small washer on this side. So I'm using 2 bolts there. Again, I'm not using the long one going this way because I can't drill through here to get there. But either way, this reinforcement bracket should give it a little bit of extra support. So I'm going to tighten this up, and then I just have to mount the bottom hardware on both sides. I got some leftover hardware from my rock sliders, which are slightly longer than the OEM bolts. Here are the plates that came with the Bulldog mounts. Slide one in between the mount and part of the truck frame, and I'm going to slide another plate in there and install this bolt through here and the nut. Alright, the Bulldog winch plate's installed. Hardware tightened down here, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 on that side. So it should be very rock solid. And now it's time to install the winch. So the winch with the hardware weighs approximately 59 pounds. So let's just say 60 pounds. Now let's just say these are about 2.5 pounds each. So 35 plus 2.5, 2.5, that's 5. So 40 plus about 60, so it's about 100 pounds right on the front, which is not ideal, but it's probably still about 50 pounds lighter than a full metal bumper. Right, here's the winch sitting on the plate. We're gonna have to relocate this box because it doesn't clear the extra radiator support beam right here. To remove the control from the winch, loosen the 4 6mm bolts, then remove the front 2 so you can flip this up and get to the 4mm bolts down there. Here's how it looks with the control box removed. For my winch control box mount, I bought some aluminum bar stock from Home Depot, drilled 4 holes, bolt right up to the control box. Then I'm going to drill part of the radiator support to mount it up like this. But I'm going to paint this black too so you don't see it. While my custom brackets are drying, I loosely installed the fairlead plates. Now I'm going to get ready to install the Warren winch. According to the instructions, there's these little square nuts that go into the bottom of the winch. And then the bolt goes through the plate into the winch, and I torque it to about 30 to 35 foot-pounds. The winch and the fairlead plates loosely installed. I'm going to slide this over and loosely install this. All the hardware is loosely installed. I pushed the winch back all the way, and I made sure that it's not touching my power steering cooler. And then the fairlead plate, I'm pushing it back all the way. Make sure that it's even. Everything looks good. Alright, all the hardware is tight. I should have installed the negative wire, but I still have room so I can get back there. The control box has been bolted down with my custom bracket. I used nut certs on a few of them, and one of them I did a self-tapping screw because the nut cert actually broke out. So you're probably better off doing self-tapping screws. I ran the power and ground wire on top of the radiator support, so I want to make sure that nothing's in the way of the rope. And then I kind of tucked it up along here. Now we have to pop off the black bottom portion of the bumper, and it should be just a bunch of little tabs all around, and the thing should pop out. So I'll reinstall the bumper. Following the instructions from Bulldog, I'm going to loosely install this cover right here. Basically, I'm going to follow that mark I have on the tape with the line right there. And I stuck the vinyl on. Now I just have to cut out this opening. Here's my cut. It looks pretty ugly, but I'm going to clean it up with door edge guard. Alright, the bottom piece of the bumper cover is installed with the door edge trim. It looks a lot cleaner. Now I'm going to remove this cotter pin and install the hook. Now let's wire it up and do a test. Red wire to positive, the ground wire to the chassis ground right there. And I have my wireless controller. Hit this button to go in. Alright. Alright guys, everything done. Winch is installed. I cut a little opening right here so I can get to the lever to undo the clutch so I can pull the rope out, and then I'm ready to winch. Lock the clutch. So this opening makes it easy to get to that lever. I may change the shackle end to a different one in the future, but for now, I'm just gonna hook it here. Reel it in. And I can't reinstall my license plate frame for now unless I modify it. So I either may relocate the license plate frame somewhere else or run no plate. Yep, so everything's installed. Everything looks good. Now I just have to read the manual and understand how to safely winch. Till next time, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.